Hello and welcome to today's presentation, where we'll be taking a look at some beers and breweries out there on the market. My name is Joshua Turk and my partner in this project was Matthew David. So to start off with, we want to be looking at the breweries in each state, the median IBU and ABV values in each state. We also want to highlight our highest alcohol content beer and our highest IBU beer. And then we want to take a dive into the ABV distribution. After that, we want to look at the relationship between ABV and IBU, and then we also want to look at that relationship as it pertains to IPAs versus ales. And then finally, we want to take a look at the most popular beer styles in the US. So before we move on, we want to address missing values. So we found 62 missing values for ABV and 1,005 for IBU. Looking at this kind of revealed that this was missing more or less at random. So we decided to impute the missing values with the overall mean of ABV and IBU. And for reference, the reason this could be is that neither IBU or ABV are legally required to be on the label, so people may not even be measuring them. And as a matter of fact, up until 1995, it was actually illegal to put ABV on the label. So here we can see our breweries by state. Here we can see that Colorado has by far the most with 47, with West Virginia, South Dakota, North Dakota, and DC each only having 1. And then over here we have a heat map where our lighter colors show our highest breweries in the states, with Colorado, California, Texas. So here we can see the medium ABVs and medium IBUs for each state. Here we can see that the ABV has a bit of a tighter distribution than the IBUs here, and our maximum ABV here comes from DC and our minimum from Utah, whereas our minimum IBU is from Wisconsin and our maximum is from Maine. And this here is the Lee Hill Series Volume 5, which is our highest ABV content beer in the data set. This one is coming to us from Upslope Brewing Company in Upslope, Colorado. Unfortunately, we did not have any IBU data for this. This is one of the ones that was missing, but this does have a 12.8% alcohol content. And then this is the Bitter Bitch Imperial IPA, which is our highest IBU measurement in the data set. This is coming to us from Astoria, Oregon, from the Astoria Brewing Company. And this has a IBU of 138, and for reference, the mean IBU of the dataset is about 43. So this is pretty high up there. And again, our ABV here is 8.2%. So here we want to look at the ABV distribution. You can see a histogram here. We have a little bit of right skewness here, so a lot more with higher percentages than there are down here. We have a mean of just about 6%, with our minimum being 0.1%, which in many places is considered non-alcoholic. Our median of 5.6% in the middle, and then our maximum of 12.8%, which again is that Lee Hill Series Volume 5 beer that we highlighted a second ago. So now we wanted to look at the relationship between ABV and IBU. So here we have our scatter plot with our gold trend line here. We can see that the relationship is generally positive in nature, and we have an R-squared value here of 0.27, meaning about 27% of the variance in one variable can be explained by the other. But in general, beers with higher IBUs will have a higher ABV, although this relationship isn't the strongest. So next up, we wanted to look at the difference between IPAs and ales with respect to ABV and IBU. So to measure this, we decided to create a K&N model. So as you can see here, we correctly guessed about 258 of the ales and correctly guessed about 126 of the IPAs, where these numbers in red are the ones we got incorrect from the model. But our overall accuracy came out to about 83.3%, and running this over about 10 iterations, we got an average accuracy about 81.6, which is still pretty good. So here you can see our ale positive rate, or the sensitivity, is about 88.05%, which means we guess ales correctly about 88% of the time. And then for IPAs, it's a little bit lower. Our specificity here is 75%, so we guessed 75% of the IPAs correctly. Now, we have a pretty high accuracy here, and because of that, we can be pretty confident in saying that the difference between ales and IPAs can be very well defined by just a beer's ABV and IBU measurements. So finally, we wanted to look at the most popular styles of beer in the US. We went ahead and found the top 5 most popular styles of beer by count. And it turns out the American IPA was the most popular with a count of 424. And the next most popular style is the American Pale Ale with a count of 245, followed by the American Amber Ale, the American Blonde Ale, and finally the American Double IPA. Here we wanted to visualize which states these top styles are coming from. For clarity, the different colors represent a tie in the most common style of the top 5 beers in each state. So for instance, here we have Colorado with a tie between American IPA and American Pale Ale with a count of 40 for each. And now our American IPA is the most popular of the top 5 styles in 26 states. And then we have a tie in about 15 additional states. And finally, that is all we have for today. Thank you so much for your time. If you would like to contact either me or Matthew, please feel free to reach us at our emails shown here. And additionally, if you'd like to take a closer look into how we gained these insights, please check out our GitHub repository here. Again, thank you so much for your time.